Another day means another Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection update. Hey, what's up? It's your boy Dynasty, and I got for you guys some good news, because it turns out, confirmed late last night in a response on X Twitter, we're getting a practice mode for, I believe, every character in every game in the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, which really shouldn't be much of a surprise given that we got confirmation that we're getting a Fatality trainer. So safe to say it'll probably be just like that, I'd assume, where you just select the game, the character, the stage, and then boom, you're thrown into a practice mode. I mean, typically, a lot of these arcade ports didn't have a practice mode, so I was saying the worst case scenario for a lot of you guys who wanted to practice would be obviously going up against the CPU, the AI, or simply connecting a second controller. But no, thankfully, a dedicated practice mode appears to be on the board for everything in the Legacy Collection, so that's a big thumbs up. Also, we get a small confirmation on language settings with the Legacy Collection. We only got confirmation right now for English and Spanish, but I'd assume there's other options if they're doing Spanish. Again, that's all that's been confirmed right now, but nonetheless, that's a welcome addition. And lastly, I got for you guys a statement that was made by both Dan Amrich and Stephen Frost at Digital Eclipse in regards to a lot of the demand after the final games list got revealed yesterday when that trailer went live. Obviously, most of you guys, myself included, wanted to see Mortal Kombat Gold included in this, and that's the one game that is not in this collection that I feel like deserved a spot. And in both these statements, essentially, it's not a direct response to the "why isn't Mortal Kombat Gold in this collection" question. It's more along the lines of, hey, we hear you, and obviously if we could have put it in the game, we would have. Technical issues, licensing issues. It's a pretty broad statement, but I think it's safe to say it's in regards to the most demanded game that's not been revealed left in this collection. I still think there's like a 1% chance we get Gold revealed next week, but yeah, who knows? DLC in the future? We'll have to wait and see. But nonetheless, before I break all this stuff down, you guys have 1 second if you could spare. Drop a like on the video, because without you, these MK videos don't happen. And without further ado, let's get into all the stuff that got confirmed after the final games list got revealed yesterday. So first things first, practice mode in the Legacy Collection. So Emerald Falcon asked here, will there be a regular practice mode too? And in response to that question, Digital Eclipse comes out and says, yes, a practice mode for characters and finishing moves will be in the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. And if you needed a second confirmation, Aim Dopeness was asking, is the training mode just for fatalities or can be practiced for characters too? Will it be for all Mortal Kombat games? And Digital Eclipse comes out and says for characters too. So again, I'd say it's safe to assume it'll be just like we saw with the Fatality trainer on the main menu UI for the Legacy Collection. There's probably going to be a training mode option, practice mode option. You click on that, you select the game you want to actually practice in. It probably gives you the full character select screen. You click on the character you want. Then from there, it probably asks you for a stage. I'm hoping it gives you a move list, because even back then on the, the port I'm playing back here on the Xbox 360, the initial arcade collection from 2011 gave you a move list with everything you could ever need to play. So I'm hoping the move list is in there. And one other thing that I hope gets confirmed in the future is maybe online training, online practice. I mean, at this point, I doubt we're going to be able to practice online with your friends, because that just kind of feels like more of a modern option. So we'll see if we get that. But if they somehow end up giving us like online practice mode with homies, that would be awesome. Hoping as well they give us like the standard stuff, like pressing the back button to like reset the practice field and things of that sort. So intrigued to see just how in depth this practice mode is. But nonetheless, there you go. You can practice in the Legacy Collection. You don't have to connect a second controller, and you don't have to do the grind against the broken AI, because some of these games are really hard, man. You really need to practice. So boom, big thumbs up. Now in regards to the language settings, Trax came out and said, will Mortal Kombat Mythologies be translated into Spanish, whether in Latin America or Spain? I'd like to know. And Stephen Frost comes out and says, yes, all of the new content will feature both Latin America and Castilian Spanish translations. So I'm assuming that means you're probably going to have a wide array of language options. But again, at the very least, this has been confirmed. And you guys do know that the big takeaway from yesterday's trailer, along with both Mythologies, Sub-Zero, and Special Forces, was UMK3 Wavenet. And essentially, Wavenet is the, I guess you could say, like the final build of UMK3. It took out a bunch of broken character infinites, a bunch of balance changes were made. Obviously, Noob Saibot was added to that roster. And Anthony was asking, Noob Saibot combat code, please. No code necessary. So from the jump, it appears like Noob will just be there for you to use, which is awesome. So looking forward to playing that build. I'm hoping it's online and not just going to be offline only, because that would be a missed opportunity. But if the other games are online other than like the Game Boy ports, safe to say that the OG online Mortal Kombat experience a la Wavenet will be. I hope so. I know it's kind of crazy to think it won't be, but we'll see. Now, as we make our way to the second topic of the day, the response to the overwhelming demand of Mortal Kombat Gold. So, this was the initial tweet we talked about in my second video from yesterday, where they came out and confirmed the final lineup and features for the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, and they attached this right here. We talked about this yesterday. If you missed it, I'll have a card on the screen right now. But underneath that, a couple hours after that, earlier in the morning today, Digital Eclipse followed with 3 different posts saying, "Thank you everyone for your reception. Our goal for this collection has always been to include as many games from the classic arcade era between 1992 and 1997 that we can. We have titles ranging from the original Mortal Kombat arcade version up to PS1 era games, and Mythologies and Special Forces, and anything in between that we could get our hands on. Please keep in mind that we strive to include every game possible. However, due to either legal, licensing, or technical issues beyond our control, some things are off the table. We hope you love this robust collection and join us in celebrating the legacy of Mortal Kombat's early history." So again, this is what's been echoed by everybody at Digital Eclipse for the last 2 months since the announcement went live. I still remember that initially a lot of us were thinking like, okay, are we getting those 3D era games? And initially Stephen Frost was like, yeah, you're not getting Mortal Kombat 9 and you're probably not getting the PS2 games. And he's been saying that for months. So again, the one game that's kind of in between is Gold. You know what I mean? I would always consider that to be part of the arcade era, given the fact that it's literally an enhanced version of Mortal Kombat 4. But you could see here, legal, licensing, or tech issues beyond their control. Some things are off the table. So, pretty sure we also didn't get, like, the Sega Genesis UMK3 version in this. So, it just seems like a lot of the Sega stuff just isn't obtainable. Obviously, a few videos ago, I want to say like a week and a half ago, I mentioned how, I want to say back in like 2016 or 17, Sega released this like at-home, I guess you can say like mini Genesis console with like 25 games, and some of those Mortal Kombat games were on that console, and I mentioned like, I wonder if the licensing rights for a lot of these classic Mortal Kombat games are tied with that home mini Sega console, mini Genesis console from like 10 years ago still or something, and that's why they can't even get any version, or at least a lot of these Sega versions in this Legacy Collection. I don't know, but this statement here has been echoed for a couple months, and you're about to see it's going to be echoed again by the 2 head honchos at Digital Eclipse. You can see here Stephen Frost says, "I will repeat this again as it bears repeating, but we strive to include every game possible in every collection that we do. We are fans, and that is our #1 goal all the time. However, sometimes we just can't due to licensing, legal, or tech issues beyond our control." So again, very similar to the official response we got from Digital Eclipse. It's coming from Steven, and licensing first, legal second, tech third. 2 of the 3 make it just seem like, yeah, Sega wanted the big bucks or something, and maybe WB was like, yeah, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. And it's kind of funny because even in the trailer that we got yesterday, when you're seeing like the Game Boy version of a lot of these games, like it's missing like the Game Boy font on the box art. I think even for like the Super Nintendo box art, like you're missing Nintendo, Super Nintendo everywhere. So like it really does seem like just getting a lot of this legal stuff ironed out's been a hurdle to the point where they have to remove legit the name Nintendo or Super Nintendo on the library of games. Like, small stuff like that just seems so unnecessary to have to do in this day and age. You would think these publishers would not be this hard to deal with, but guys, I don't work at Digital Eclipse. I'm not the one developing this. I don't have insider sources, but I really do think that it's a licensing and legal thing and not even a tech thing, because again, how hard is it to emulate these older games? It can't be that hard. It really can't be when we're seeing a bunch of collections coming from Capcom and you name it. So I'm convinced that Sega just wanted the bag and they probably didn't want to give it to them, for better or worse. So yeah, here's the first statement that was made by Stephen Frost in regards to why we're missing some of these games a la Gold. This is what Dan Amrick had to say next. All Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection games revealed. It's focused on the arcade era, but we know everybody has a different entry point and would like to revisit other games too. All requests have been heard, but we need to focus on making this one as awesome as possible before we go dreaming of the future. So, arcade era. Arcade era. All requests have been heard. This has to sell well. If this sells well, maybe they could give the bag to Sega, and maybe if there's a Legacy Collection too with all those 3D era games from the PS2, OG Xbox, Deadly Alliance, Deception, Armageddon, Shaolin Monks, you name it, maybe they give us Mortal Kombat Gold in that collection, which honestly, I'd be content with. I could wait. If you give me Gold and Deception in the same package, I can wait. So there you go. Never say never. I hope they find a way to make it happen, but that's the closest I think we're going to get to a direct response in regards to why some games are missing. Why Gold is missing. And while we're here, a few hours ago, Digital Eclipse came out and shared this. Thought to be lost to time after its limited run in arcades, Wavenet joins Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, offering Noob Saibot's first appearance as a playable character and this nearly unseen final balance for the UMK3 era. And right here is the portrait they would place on top of the headpiece of the arcade. I can't think of the name. It's on the tip of my tongue. You guys know what I'm talking about, like the top of the cabinet. This would go above the cabinet. And I've also learned that this was in Chicago and apparently also in San Francisco. So you could pretty much be in Chicago back in the day going up against people in San Francisco, and that was like actual like Wi-Fi fights before like modern netcode and stuff. So could you imagine that? Playing in a arcade in Chicago and just waiting for somebody in San Fran to pull up and put their quarters in to go up against you. Like, that'd be pretty cool, especially if you could have like a phone, be like, hey man, about to kick your ass, boom, and you start playing. So that's pretty neat. You could have like arcade battles. Chicago arcade versus San Francisco arcade, and again, it was like the final build of UMK3. Steven saying, so excited for more people to get a chance to play this long-lost version of UMK3, and again, I didn't even know it existed. So, that's my favorite classic Mortal Kombat game. I'm going to be diving headfirst into this, and best believe I will be giving you guys the work with Noob Saibot. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. A practice mode is confirmed to be in the Legacy Collection, some language settings. And again, it seems like they're aware that we were expecting and wanting Gold to be in this, but because of licensing issues, tech issues out of their control, the literal quote is that we don't have it. But at least the door is not slammed completely. Never say never. Again, if this is a success, who's to say they can't throw the bag at Sega and they can't figure out a way to get this as part of an upcoming collection? Maybe even DLC in the future. But guys, what do you all think of this? Are you relieved to know there is a training mode in the Legacy Collection? Are you still buying? Are you upset that Gold isn't in this? Let me know your thoughts on all this down below. If you enjoyed, drop a like on it. Subscribe for some more MK content like this on the channel. So next time, your husband Dynasty, guys, please take care, stay safe. I love you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace. And just a heads up, if you guys ask them about Mortal Kombat Gold, they're going to just give you this response. They've copy and pasted this like 6 times. Our focus for this collection has been the arcade era games from 1992 to 1997. So, you know, echoing the official statement that they made underneath this tweet, just keep that in mind. If you straight up ask for gold, they're going to tell you this is the focus. And I know some of you guys are going to be like, but this collection has games that came out after this. Touché. So, just letting you know, if you ask for it, you might get met with this response. And for some reason, if you were wondering what version of Sub-Zero Mythologies we'd be getting, we're getting the PS1 version. So that's also worth confirming. And again, if you ask about any of the 3D era games, they're going to say, no PS2 titles. None. And if you needed more proof, if you ask about Mortal Kombat Gold, right here, Alpha Omega asking about Gold, our focus for this collection has been the arcade era games from 92 to 97, so you'll see arcade, PS1, and GBA titles. And they're being adamant that this is indeed the final announcements for the collection. Mythologies, Sub-Zero, Special Forces, and UMK3 Wavenet. So do with that information as you will. There's also going to be one button fatalities, but this was confirmed in the actual trailer, I want to say, yesterday in Fatality Trainer mode. But yes, one button fatalities making a comeback. So anyways, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. See you later. Peace.
On it crack, but I'm not superstitious. Count all these racks, I be steady counting my dish.